Homeworthy. I'm Stephanie. Welcome to my home in Fairfield, Connecticut. I am so honored that you're here. Come on in.
This fall, Homeworthy is all about the season's magic. We're stepping inside homes transformed by autumn's colors, where pumpkins aren't just decorations, they're statements.
We went to the auction in Pennsylvania and brought 4,000 pumpkins back, and I have them all on my stoop, and the neighbor's stoop, and the other's neighbor's stoop, and the other neighbor's stoop, and my backyard.
Where shadows and candlelight mingle to create a hint of spookiness, and every corner tells a story.
And so the theme of this was friends are coming over for a nice dinner. It clearly turned into a bit of a bloodbath. We have some candles and some transitional pieces throughout. There's like teeth and guts.
From extraordinary Halloween displays to cozy gatherings at home, we'll explore spaces that feel both enchanting and inviting.
For the tablescape today, I really wanted to capture all these deep sort of jewel tones for fall. These gorgeous reds and deep purples. They really are rich and inviting.
Plus, in the kitchen, we're celebrating the flavors of the season with dishes that bring warmth, comfort, and a touch of whimsy to the table.
Remember that fall isn't just about the foliage changing, but it's about the mood changing even in the house. And that has to do even with what you're cooking, right? So today we're going to make a really moist, fabulous apple cake.
So light the candles and enjoy our autumnal series, because nothing says home like a little spook and a lot of heart. To watch the full episode ad-free, scan the QR code or click join below. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy. I'm Stephanie Kane, also known as The Seasoned Home on Instagram, and you're in my home in Fairfield, Connecticut. We've lived in our home for almost 23 years. We actually moved in on Christmas Eve. I don't know why, but it makes me so happy. We actually weren't necessarily looking for a home when we found it, which I guess is meant to be. I happened to find the listing. This was back long ago when, a realtor would have just a picture and that was all you could see. And it was this little house, the front of the house with one little light on it. And I was like, that's my house. We called up a real estate agent and we found out that it was under contract. And we were bummed as could be, but we also weren't totally looking. So we drove by it. I was like, oh, I found all the things I didn't like about it, which I was just trying to make myself feel better. And then we got a call from the real estate agent and they said this home was back on the market. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's meant to be. So we came, we looked at it. It was actually vacant at that time, and everything about it, I could not love it more. It needed some work, but the bones were there, and it was like a little dollhouse, which I've always wanted to live in, a little dollhouse. And I believe the only reason we got the house was because we could close within a month on Christmas Eve, and we could have cared less when it was. We literally did not have a tree up. We were like, Merry Christmas to all and to all a good night. And that is how we came to own this home. It's really funny. I have a tremendous love of seasonal decorating, hence my Instagram handle, The Seasoned Home. It was born out of something you wouldn't necessarily think. Growing up, I didn't love Halloween at all. I actually disliked it tremendously. I didn't have the fondest memories of it. And it was incredibly important to me that my son at the time and then my daughter have really fond memories, because I feel like it's such a celebrated holiday among kids, and the fact that I always felt sort of sad about it really motivated me from when my son was less than 2 to start, to make it something beautiful and fun and about like togetherness and family. And so I will never forget this. It was, my son is 20, so it was 18, 19 years ago. And Pier 1 came out with a light up grapevine pumpkin that plugged in, and I was in love. I remember, like, we didn't have a ton of spare money, and it was like $39 for 2 of them, and I was like, I'm gonna get these. I'm gonna plug them in for the entire season of, from September to November by the mantle. And they had a light up black cat, and I'm going to bring Jacob along on this journey. I could tell I was creating something with him that I didn't have growing up, and that I was doing good already. I think that, as parents, when you have children, your biggest hope is to do your very best to let them have a beautiful childhood and be the most, beautiful children that they can be, and pass along traditions and pass along those types of things. And I think we've achieved that. So the seasonal decorating has just grown from that. It started with 2 pumpkins and a black cat, and it morphed, if you will. It took off to the point where when I started my Instagram, like I said, I named it The Seasoned Home, and that is because I realized there's a way to decorate. I like to call it for Falloween, fall and Halloween kind of together, where you don't have to take everything off of every shelf in every store, but you can kind of take things from your home, but in addition, take a glass pumpkin. I used to call them the Cinderella pumpkins, the light up pumpkins, and just put them in a way that is a little bit elevated. So you take it out of the mass production shelf and you bring it into your home, and you thoughtfully create a mantle with it. And so that's kind of what fall, Halloween, and Christmas are by far the biggest. So this is what we like to call our family room. It's where we gather to watch TV, to watch movies. It actually is the room that sold us on this home, because it's just the vaulted ceilings, the natural light that it gets. I had never seen a room quite like it, and off of such a sweet little cape, to have a room like this was huge, literally and figuratively. One of the things that I really, really wanted several years ago was an antique piano. This one is from the 1800s. It was about as heavy as humanly possible to move. We had 5 grown men and a moving truck to take this out and bring it here. It was a beautiful mahogany color. I got a lot of flack for this, but I really wanted to paint it. And I'm so happy that I did. It actually was originally chalk painted, but then I painted it this beautiful dark green, and it just, to me, it made this space cozy. The windows were here. However, we did change this big, beautiful window. This is by far my favorite spot in the house, my favorite window. This bush flowers so beautifully in the spring, purple, beautiful, dangling flowers. This window, funny story, was originally off-center to the room, as was the pitch of the ceiling, because from the outside it made more sense. We decided you really don't see anything from the outside because there's bushes and trees covering it, so why not have it make more sense as you walk in? So we replaced a very older, traditional style, longer, narrow arch window with this beautiful, more modern sort of statement window, and we could not be happier. We did that a few years ago, painted the room a darker color, and then we also made the ceiling pitch centered, and it made a tremendous difference in the look and feel of this room. Even though it was beautiful before, it's like anything. It just takes on a bit of a different life. And so I sort of continued the arch. I love an arch. You'll see that as you walk through my home. So I found this arch decor bookcase at Home Goods, which was a fraction of the price compared to what I had been seeing them for. It actually originally had doors. I took them off, painted it. I do like to paint things a lot. It's sort of a showcase for some decor, some, obviously, as you can see, some fall and Halloween decor. It's just starting, but it'll definitely get even more so. But right now it's just kind of at its sort of tame, lovely look. I would love to talk to you about this desk. This actually was, my husband's mom passed away when he was 17. This desk was in their home. It was a lacquer blue, 80s. And so we repainted it, have kept everything else original. These are the original handles. It is an incredibly special and meaningful piece, not only because it was in my husband's family, but obviously his mom passing at a young age. It's nice to have a piece of her always. It has gone through many transitions through our home. It's been on both sides of our living room. And this spot, it just has stayed in for a few years now, and it feels like it was kind of meant to be here. When we did our renovation, we always had sliders here. They were very old, not in the best shape. So we actually had to shift this window down a little bit, and it became new sliders down to the patio, to the pool. Even though we have the couch kind of in front, there's plenty of walkway here. And to be honest, when I show you our office, that's kind of more of the way to get in and out now, but this is a nice second way. And our giant 12-foot Christmas tree that we get every year can happily still fit through the doors. This wall did not used to be here. Actually, I take that back. Years ago it was. When we made the screen porch that I spoke of, we made a door to the screen porch right here. So this whole wall got broken into kind of, it wasn't a wall anymore, it was a door. Once we took the screen porch away and added the office, I was like, oh gosh, we need something on this big blank wall. And so again, I'm just starting out. We'll probably put some artwork on the wall as well, but I felt like it was the perfect fit, and it just complements my fall tree so nicely. This is where the fun happens, if you will. Mantles are my favorite. They're the hardest, in my opinion, in some ways to do, but they are the most fun. And when they come out how I sort of envisioned, that is just the greatest joy. This didn't used to be here. This used to just be a wall with a cabinet with a TV in it. And my husband and I DIY'd it. This is an electric fireplace that we just built into this piece. We had it come out so that we could account for that. We had it go up to the ceiling. We got a frame TV, which I love because I seasonally change the art. But we put a picture light so that when the TV is not on, it can tend to look like art, as opposed to, I'm not a big fan of TVs. I kind of call them the black holes, and I like to cover them up all the time. So having the frame TV with the art is key. And then we put on a mantle, specifically so that we could hang garland and put pumpkins. I love the light up glass pumpkins. I didn't light these ones up because we have plenty of light with the twinkle lights, but I did make sure to put the twinkle lights in. These are handmade by Molly Jenkins Pottery. They're so beautiful, and they have a little opening in the back that I just stick the twinkle lights in. And the fireplace is going, and this we keep on for all of the cozy months. And again, it just adds to the flicker, the cozy, the twinkle, the lovely of the season. When we moved into this house, we were pretty young. We were like 27 years old. I didn't have a full design focus. I knew that whenever I felt a bit anxious, I do run a tad anxious, decorating and putting things together that are pleasing to the eye would calm me. And so I found that I was working full time at the time, and I really wasn't putting that much into my home. And then I had my son, and I was home every day, which was a beautiful gift to be home with him as a stay-at-home mom. But you start to notice the things in your home that you're like, oh, what if I just painted that? Or what if I just did that? And this home was made in 1940. So it definitely has its challenges. There is no level floor, no level ceiling, and I think that's what I love most about it. It's just quirky and sweet, and there's nothing cookie cutter, and there's nothing sort of prefab about it. It is bare bones, old and lovely and charming. So So this home would be nothing without Mr. Seasoned Home, my husband, whom I gave that moniker to because on my Instagram he did not care for being on camera. And I thought if I created kind of an alter ego for him, it might be easier to play a part. And it just stuck. And everyone loves to call him Mr. Seasoned Home. So here he is. His real name is Adam, but he goes by Mr. Seasoned Home in this house. He is a huge force behind the whole house, but this room in particular. Do you want to talk about what we did here?
Yeah, so this wall we had a lot of different things on this wall throughout the years, and it never really worked because we never knew what to do with it. But then Steph had the idea of just putting bookcases. She showed me a picture that she found somewhere, and
which is all I do, and he's just like, okay, we can try it.
So we got a bunch of Ikea Billy bookcases. We put them together, lifted them up a little bit, added all the trim, added the scallops at the top, and then put electrical in on the bottom so that we could have all the lights. And now it just sort of flows in with the doorway. When we did the addition, this arch is not mine, all the rest are, but this arch was done by the contractor who built the addition. He tied it in, and now it just is one piece, so we really like this.
And the reason that we chose to do the arch / scallops is, I'll talk about it more, but over there, original to the home was a corner bookshelf that had scallops on it. And so in this, I think I had mentioned, this room was the room that had plagued me for 22 years, what to do with it, how to set it up. Everything was floating. It's a pathway, it's a giant hallway. How can we make this an actual room that has function, and obviously the function of the hallway, but also the function of the seating area? And this back wall it just was always lacking something. And this used to be a window, and it literally would look out on the house. So there was nothing really purposeful about it. So when we decided to do the addition and have it go off of here, when talking about doing the arches, and then I filled them purposefully with a lot of antiques. For the 10 months that the renovation was going on, that this wasn't here, I had collected vintage pieces, antique pieces, books. I actually went to the Pequot Library in our town has a book sale, and they had old books. This one, I think, was from 1890. Just most incredible stories, vintage art filled here, vintage stools. Everything is kind of vintage in the hopes that it looks like it was always here. We also redid our fireplace. I think I had mentioned that this had been tiled, shiplapped. It had so many, this whole room was tricky. Didn't we talk about it? Like this wasn't centered, right?
No, that wasn't centered. Originally we had the couch on that wall, and it was just awkward for many, many years.
Nothing made sense, no matter how we did it. So we kind of put our heads together. I found some pictures, as I always do. We originally, this is crazy, intended for this to be a floor-to-ceiling brick fireplace, a la like Joanna Gaines. We did that, and then we undid it. It's terrible, I know, and God bless this man, and he felt it too.
Yeah.
We were like, wait, we don't have a farmhouse. We are not a rustic home per se. We need a more traditional 1940s Cape fireplace. And so we started essentially over. And it was kind of my biggest fail, if you will, with the biggest gain, because what we developed out of it, I could not have created something better if I tried. But this arch wasn't there. I'll give you one guess as to who made it. This guy right here. Did you have some challenges making the arch? It was interesting, right?
That was a challenge. I've never really done masonry or brick before, but
just
sort of like try and
also to
fail.
Get the curve, right? Yeah. I mean, it was trial and error. It just was. And then creating a mantle. So ironically, this mantle, original to the home, went all the way here. And it was just this big, large piece in a smaller room that felt like it took over. It wasn't very, the rest of the home had so much character, it really didn't have any character. And so we, by adding the different molding on the mantle and then adding the box molding above and then the dental molding, we gave it what I like to think of as charming character, as sort of character that the rest of the home had. And in addition, I said before, so this used to be, from here to here was this corner bookcase. It was beautiful. I loved it. My community on Instagram was so upset when I took it away, but I promised them it was for the greater good of, we were going to do something even better with it. So what we did, and it was original to the home, and it was actually one of the things I loved most about the home, but I also love symmetry. Big symmetry fan. There was nothing over there. So we took this half that had the scallops also, and we brought that scalloped top and the side to this one. And we basically recreated them using, did we use Ikea cabinets on this too?
No,
you just kind of built these, right? We just custom made these with Home Depot wood. And we made the cabinets. This is my favorite. This did not used to be here. This is a window seat. Our home, you'll notice, has these bay windows, which I also love, add so much character. We ended up bringing this one out. I've always wanted a window seat. I just think there's something so incredibly charming about window seats in homes. So we flanked it with sconces. We have the bookshelves. I got a custom cushion from Etsy that was amazing. They literally made it, I don't know if you can see, they literally cut it out to fit the walls. I mean, all through drawings. Amazing. I was never on social media. I hesitated to be on social media because I think it's that type of place that it's that, it shows you only the good. And, you're seeing, oh, so-and-so went out with so-and-so to this party and, I wasn't invited or whatever. And I knew that wasn't necessarily good for me, but in things that are not good for you, if you force yourself into it, sometimes you can learn and you can grow and you can become more comfortable. And so I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna start a business. And I'm gonna call it The Seasoned Home. And I'm gonna go on Instagram solely just to promote my home design business, home decor business, sort of decorating for others in their homes. So I had to, of course, get a Facebook account and I had to get an Instagram account. And I started and I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to photograph a room. I didn't know what a hashtag was. I didn't know what a good photo looked like. I didn't know anything. And I basically studied and taught myself and looked at what people were doing. Soon, what I realized was, while I was working in other people's homes, people liked my home. And they were coming to my Instagram to see my home. And there was like a business opportunity in this. And I couldn't believe that. So I took a course on, photography, and I took a course on hashtags. I mean, anything I could find, I just took it. I consumed it. And slowly but surely, my account grew and my business grew. And on my Instagram, The Seasoned Home, it's all about our home and how we've made it what it is today and how we sort of started from the ground up, and I had the ideas and Mr. Seasoned Home executed them. And, now 8 years later, we literally just did our first, in 23 years of living here, our first renovation and addition. We actually had someone else build onto our home, but not a huge one, because again, that sort of goes against personally what The Seasoned Home is about, what our home is about. Our home is not about having all of this great, glorious space. It's more about creating as much space as possible within the footprint of our home that works for our family. So we turned a coat closet into a powder room, and we turned a larger powder room into a laundry room on the first floor. And I was always doing my work at the kitchen island, and it sort of came up like, well, maybe I need an office. Like maybe this is actually, you know, my life, a job, something that I'm going to devote a lot of time to. Maybe we need an office. And so in the renovation, we made sure to add an office. And sadly, but sort of not sadly, because I think it comes full circle, we took that screened porch and we made it into my office. And we added a hallway with a wet bar that I'll show you in a bit, and a full bathroom and our office. We're gonna give Mr. Seasoned Home a 5-minute break because this part of the house is all new and was done without him, which is, I mean, with obviously he was the brains behind it with me, but this was done with an actual contractor, additions, renovations, all that type of thing. So this is a hallway, and as we said, we wanted to continue the arches that you sort of saw in the family room, through the living room, and now into this hallway. I don't like for anything any space to not have function. So I will find a functional space in anything, even a hallway. So instead of just making it a pass through, we made a wet bar out of it, which is really more of a coffee bar because we don't drink a ton. But regardless, so we have our coffee set up, we have a mini fridge that has creamer and it has drinks, and I also look at it as when our kids have friends from the pool, they can kind of come in through the office, grab a drink, go to the bathroom, sit down, and then, you know, head back out. I don't love blank walls, as you can see, probably in the house as well. I recently got this beautiful shelf from Magnolia, and I feel like their pieces they always have a bit of a vintagey antique look, which to me is very important. Again, this is not a new cookie cutter home. My style is not modern per se. It is more classic, more vintage inspired, cozy cottage almost. I think they're calling it cottage core now. I can't keep up. But regardless, the home is a little cottage, and I hope that my decorating kind of reflects that. So we got this beautiful shelf to house our coffee mugs, little knickknacks, some glassware, barware, if you will. We're never moving. This is our forever home. We absolutely love it. It is sort of, our identity is tied to it. I can't imagine ever leaving it. I can't imagine anyone else ever living in it. And our kids plan, as they say always, that they're going to, you know, kick us out and live in it. So we'll see if that happens. But we made this with the idea that the office, which you're going to turn around and see in a moment, could be a primary bedroom, and this could be our primary bathroom as we age if we can't walk up the stairs, which sad to think about, but you got to think about those things when you know, as you get older and as you design a home. So full bath here, and then this room is my favorite of the addition. Honestly, they all are though. I'm terrible at picking favorites. Ask my kids. They'll be like, what's your favorite color? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not good at picking favorites. I think it's part of being like a teacher, and you know, you just love everybody and everything, and every room, every person brings something different to the table. This room, let's talk about it. This is the first room I ever color drenched. Oh my gosh, I was so nervous. And I mean full color drenched, like the ceiling too. I made sure to tie in the elements of the shiplap ceiling in here that we had in the family room. We tied in the dental moldings above the windows so that it would go with the dental moldings in here in the living room. There was a lot of thought that went into how to make this space not feel like it hasn't always been here. So in other words, make it feel like it's always been here. I love marble. I think it is the most stunning, eye-catching, storytelling type of tile you can use. I love a black and white pattern. And so this just felt like the room, the moment. And we wanted tile. The reason we did not hardwood it, like we did the hallway, is because, again, kids are coming in off the pool. We didn't want it to be like, oh, clean up after yourself. If it's tile, you can it just dries. It's meant for water. So when we designed this room, one of the most important things was that it have a lot of windows. I wanted it, a lot of people were calling it the sunroom, which this is like a multifunction room. It is designed as an office. It could also be a sunroom. It could also be a dining room. It can be a puzzle room, a family room, a game room, whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have one particular definition. Yes, I sit at the desk. Yes, I work at it. And so in doing that, I did want my view to be lovely. And I also feel like it's going to sound so hokey like Bob Ross, but what's more beautiful than nature, right? As a backdrop. You don't need all the paintings and all the things, you have it right out here. So we made sure to do floor to ceiling windows here, and again on the slider, and why not have the outside, bring the outside in? So that's what we did. Each room has its purpose, each room serves us, and each room is a reflection of us. And I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of what we've done. I'm really proud that every time someone walks into our home, they say, it's so welcoming, it's so warm, it feels like people live here, which is the greatest compliment, especially as a decorator. You don't ever, personally, I don't ever want to decorate to make someone feel that they can't sit on the couches, that they can't touch something, a vase, a picture. I want them to feel as at home as they possibly can, and as at home as I feel here. That's kind of my mission and my greatest joy. So when someone says that, it's like a big hug of affirmation for me. So off of our mudroom, you enter the home, you come into the mudroom, and then you enter into the kitchen, which is kind of the heart of the home, as I said before. And this room was the only other room that we professionally hired out,
right.
Professionals to do, because there was a lot of structural changes. As we said, this wall wasn't here. This used to be the kitchen. And then there was a wall behind that used to close off the kitchen, and it was the dining room. And we went back and forth.
Yeah.
Remember, I did not want to get rid of the dining room. I like rooms very much.
So
I don't like open space.
You wanted the island and you wanted the dining room, and it just wasn't going to work.
That was one of those, like, my 97% of ideas that he's like, it actually physically can't happen. And I'm like, but why? And he's like, physics, like, it can't happen.
Right.
So we settled on taking the wall down and making the kitchen one big room. And I have to tell you, I have never regretted that. Never once. I remember saying to him, you were so smart, obviously. He is the brains, so smart behind what we do and how we do it. And his thinking was, that doorway isn't going to provide us, the wall there isn't going to provide us like that much.
For the 3 times a year we use the dining room.
The dining room. And now we use it every night.
Yeah.
Because it's off of our kitchen. We eat there every night. And we were able to get a nice big island, which is the more informal seating. Our kids did homework at it all those years. We, have breakfast and lunch here. We made sure we had enough seats. I used to call this my perch before the office. This is where I would work. Not the most comfortable on a stool with no back after a while. And we just did a traditional L layout, but once again, as I've told you many a time, I do not care for appliances, toilets. I find them to be not attractive, so I hide them. So we made sure to panel our dishwasher, our refrigerator. This one's my favorite. All the kids that would come over would be like, wait, Emily, where's your fridge? To my daughter or my son. They'd be like, where's the fridge? And I'd be like, oh no, it's right here. And in doing this, again, we had to get a very narrow, tall fridge versus a larger one, but we basically tried to make everything, because we incorporated our dining room into it, I wanted everything to have a little bit more of a cabinetry feel versus a utilitarian kitchen feel. So everything is paneled except for the stove, and I still have my issues with that. And we hid the microwave. And then what we did, so originally we just had a blank wall there, remember?
Yep.
And then I believe I saw something, right? Wasn't it? Didn't I get this crazy idea?
Another Ikea
I saw
cabinet.
these cabinets at Ikea, and I was like, hold on a second. These look pretty custom. What if because we found that this was a very open walkway, and I don't like any dead space. If there is space and I can do something with it, I will. So we created almost like a pantry,
right,
where our food is underneath and our serving dishes, and then up here you can display your china from our wedding, any kind of dishes that have meaning, special things, gifts from our wedding. the more pretty things that often are just in a cabinet, never being seen. And so we created these. You want to talk about how you did it? Like everyone always asks, how did you get them to stick together? Because did they used to have like lip, right?
They just have a lip. You just have to cut it off. It's not that big of a deal.
No, it was.
And then just put them together, bolted them together so they don't move. And then, because Steph always wants to display 1,000 different cutting boards, we added...
Oh yeah, we added the plate rack there.
The plate rack at the end, and just tried to tie it in with the same...
We made this.
Yeah, we made that to try and have it look the same.
And originally, before I wallpapered the back, because you know I can't leave anything plain for too long, it had shiplap in the back. So we basically recreated this to look exactly like that. We color matched the paint with Benjamin Moore and added the brass rails and made it a plate rack. And it becomes a seasonal, fun decor place too, off of the dining room. Yeah, that was a big project. That was a fun one, and it really transformed the space. I hemmed and hawed a lot over it being a different color. For a while, I was stuck on that, and then...
And adding marble.
Oh, remember that?
Yes.
I want to add marble everywhere.
Yes.
But I wanted to add marble, and we were going to do this. And then at the end of the day, sometimes Mr. Season Home has to just be like, I think it's enough. And I'm like, simmer down? Got it. Simmering down. I hang garland here. I actually haven't done it yet, but at Christmas time and in the fall and at Easter, I hang it across here. It makes it interesting, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely create obstacles when trying to get to the things in the cabinet.
Yes.
But it sure does look pretty, doesn't it, Mr. Season Home? And you'll notice that I did wallpaper the backs here. We, not I. We even added strip lighting. I don't know if you can see it in here. We tried to hide it really well, so that it just gives it a more custom look. Again, not Ikea looking, but it is. So a lot of our DIYs is sort of taking something that doesn't cost all that much and elevating it to look a little bit more sophisticated. And Mr. Season Home always jokes because...
If you look close, you can see all the hooks and nails at the top, the hook here. This is always used to hang wreaths over the door that we just leave on all the time, so we don't have to
decorating.
Bring them back every 6 months.
And it's hilarious. I'm not kidding you. The strands of garland that were like, okay, wait, you just hold that. Wait, all right, okay, if I just get in here, I can get that plate, no problem. All for the price of loveliness. So the staircase, as I've said to you many times, I don't really like anything that's just sort of there can be pretty. It can be lovely, and it should be, in my mind. And so this staircase was just this hallway. It just was white. Boring. And it had our kids' pictures on the walls, which we will put back. So we literally just finished this project like 2 days ago. I find hallways, small bathrooms, small rooms to be the perfect spot for wallpaper. However, this is a pretty long hallway, and it can get a little overwhelming, I think, especially with a larger pattern like this William Morris pattern that is my all-time favorite, the honeysuckle and tulip. And so I had this idea, well, you know, often on staircases you see the boxes, the box molding, or you see wallpaper, and what if they had a baby? And we made a paneled box. I asked the gentleman who wallpapers, and he actually was like, I love this idea. And when he finished, he said this was actually one of his favorite projects because it breaks up the wallpaper and it gives it such definition that you really can appreciate the pattern so much. And I couldn't agree more. I love that. I love the molding, which ties in from the molding in here. It's the same color, so there's a lot of continuity. We also did the dental. It was really funny. We had our contractor do this part, just the crown molding, because Mr. Season Home believes he is terrible at it. I don't think he is, but it is a pain. And so I was like, can we just like do the crown molding down the stairs? She's like, you know. And I was like, you just like bend it. He's like, no, it doesn't work that way. And I'm like, oh, come on, we could try it. And he's like, no. So I did not get it on the stairs, but I did get it down here and then up the stairs. We added new lighting up the stairs, and it gives it a completely different feel. I feel like I'm at a cross between a bed and breakfast, a like little hotel, and a cottage. So it takes you up the stairs, and my kids love it. We all just love it. It was sort of a happy, I don't want to call it an accident, but when I try things in design, it's like a wing and a prayer, just hope. And this one exceeded my expectations. And this beautiful hallway leads you up to the second floor where our 3 bedrooms are and our primary suite is. So I'll take you along. Okay, so what I love about this home that isn't necessarily a traditional style of a New England Cape, this is a Cape Cod style home, is all of the bedrooms are on the second floor. Typically in Capes, you have a couple bedrooms on the first floor, a couple bedrooms on the second floor, usually like kids get separated from parents, and it was really important that it be more of a colonial style home. But what I loved about it is, so it is a colonial style home with the Cape Cod feel, which has the slanted ceilings, which has the dormers, it has built-ins, it has all that lovely charm without having mixed up bedrooms, and I've always loved that. So we have our kids' bedrooms on either side here. This is our daughter Emily, our son Jacob's room. And one of the things that we did do, I should just talk about this, is we color-drenched this as well, so that, again, you have a lot of busy with the wallpaper, but you have this calm with the color of the paint. And this is another Ikea piece that we built into the wall to make it look like a linen closet. And then one of my favorite things about our bedroom is, first of all, it didn't used to be here. You step down into it, which again gives it just charm. It's not something you see often in homes. This used to be a sun porch. So you would step off the home out, I think it was a door, down the stairs, and this would be a sun porch. And in one of the renovations before we lived here, they made this into a bedroom, and we were the lucky recipients of it. So I believe this used to be a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom Cape Cod. And now it is 3, and if you include the office, it could technically be considered 4. My favorite, as I said before, the charm of a Cape, you don't get this anywhere else. You've got the dormers. Some people don't care for it. I love it. I think it gives such character. It makes it feel cozier. I love a vaulted ceiling, but I also love a lower ceiling. The ceilings in this home are about 7.5 feet. They're not high at all. I think by keeping them white though, you can make them look a little bit taller than they are, especially in a room like this. The other thing about Capes is sometimes the dormers come into the living area. We are very lucky in this sense that that does not affect us. The dormer is more affects the walls. And ironically, we called this the house of no closets. I think people in 1940 didn't often get dressed. And so another Ikea, we love to hack an Ikea project. This is actually, the height of it, this is actually meant for a child's room, but it fit perfectly at the level of the dormer. This was all just dead space. So here came my idea. What if we built in closets? Because we didn't have any. We had one tiny one, and then what we turned into our bathroom had been another closet that literally had a bench in it. And I'm like, who's sitting in a bench in a closet? So we mimicked it on both sides so that it was symmetrical. I love this house because there is a lot of symmetry. Even though it's old and quirky, it makes it feel not unfunctional old, meaning you have the symmetry that new homes have with the charm that old homes have. All right, I brought Mr. Seasoned Home back in or Adam, for the discussion of the bathroom, because again, there was lots of structural things. One of our favorite things too is the stairs that you have to walk up into to come into our bathroom. Again, it makes it feel like a little separate space in a way. So this is our newly renovated, just a couple months old baby. Once again, marble everywhere. It was kind of the joke, as I said with our contractor, was where else can we put marble? And he was like, nowhere. It was really important to have a double vanity. It was really important to have a closet to hide the toilet, because I find that to be a very unattractive thing, just like the appliances. It was very important to have a tub area, because this is like my dream tub area. I have been taking baths every night of my life since we've been married. And I was taking it in a 20-year-old Whirlpool tub for many years. That the Whirlpool didn't work, and even if it did, I didn't want it to. We went with a cast iron tub to keep that sort of older home feel, and I just could not be happier. We made sure to have lots of light. And this bathroom originally ended, was it right about here?
Yeah, probably.
Right about here.
And with the dormers. So it
And
really
it had dormers.
ended here.
Yes.
It was really...
So it was dormer. So that's unusable space. And so it felt like a little narrow hallway that had one sink and a shower and tub.
Yep.
And our wish was to make it larger. And we got that wish. So we separated the shower and the tub. This is the funniest part, because of course, I can't just have, as I remember what I said, I was like, it just looks too bathroomy.
Yeah.
Remember?
I don't want it to look like a bathroom.
I don't want it to look like a bathroom. And both Adam and the contractor were like, but it is.
Right.
And I was like, but it doesn't have to. So I was like, what if, once again, arches and...
After the whole thing is framed out and we were ready to start, almost to the point where we're starting to tile, Steph comes with a picture. I want this.
Because it's two bathrooms.
Which is basically an arch and a chandelier and this and that. And as with anything, even though it feels like a huge space to us, it's not that big to try and fit the tub, the shower, the double vanity, the toilet.
Oh, I also have depth perception issues. So everything to me is ginormous or tiny, and I think we can fit everything in it. And he's always like, but we can't. And I'm like, but why?
Yeah, so it was just a lot of nights with the contractor when this place was just gutted, trying to relay it out.
Oh,
we
God.
also lost a couple
not proud.
feet on the original plans because what the architect thought there was more space over on this wall.
And there wasn't.
So the shower was going to be smaller but eventually just working through it over and over and over again.
Like putting our heads together, which is what we do. It's like, it starts with like, there's no way. And I'm like, there's always a way. And he's like, well, maybe if we did this and this and this. And then there comes the mock-up phase.
Yeah.
Where he then
we just have 2x4s all over the place.
2x4s. We create a mock arch. Yeah. We create a vanity out of cardboard boxes to see our... I mean, do you remember this?
Yep.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry.
But what we always
end up with the right thing.
And we still had to make some compromise. Like, this door is not huge to get into the shower, but it's big enough. Things like the arch, wasn't the original design, but we got to a point where everybody was happy with what it was. So little things like that, but we made it work.
And my process when I go through this is, I have an idea. It's the best idea I've ever had. Then it's like, no, it's the worst idea I've ever had. And then I spend some nights awake like, well, what if I hate this idea? What if we do it? And then I've wasted everyone's time and everyone's money, and there's no way we can do this. And then I come back and I'm like, we're not going to do it. And then I'm like, but it's so bathroomy. And then we work and we talk and we work and we talk and we work and we talk.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I'm like, oh, we did it.
And then the compromise is a
hilarious toilet
room that literally only fits the toilet. The pocket door that we had to make fit room for.
Yeah, and you cannot even actually close the door when you're in the toilet closet. But that does not matter because you can close the door when it's not in use. Yeah.
I think my brain automatically goes to everything that could go wrong and doesn't work. And I have to end up getting rid of those or mitigating those, or however you want to say it, to get to the point where we can build something. Because a lot of the times the first idea is an impossible idea, but then it's really just a matter of continuing to talk about it. I think we spent a lot of nights, again, with us two and the contractor in here with tape measures, with pieces of wood, just seeing.
Blue tape, all of it.
You just have to have patience.
It's the trial and error of it, and it's sort of being persistent and persevering.
Right, and you got to be willing to compromise.
Yeah, because my ideas are always like this big, and he's always like, okay, we can do that, but this big. And it's good because he, simmer down. He brings me back down a little bit.
So I think if everyone's willing to compromise, we can get there. I think at the beginning of the process, we're both less compromising, but at the end, we usually end up finding a good
literally
result.
It usually goes, I have an idea. No, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Pretty much.
And then we slowly meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Compromise. So this is one of our favorite new additions. I think that the hardest thing about having two entrances is making both of them like a front entrance. So we had this idea to put a portico on to highlight this side of the house and make it a little bit more like the front of the house, so that when you're on that road, that's the front, and when you're on this road, this is the front. And so in adding the portico, we really did that. We added the beautiful bluestone, the stairs. I mean, these are things we wished to have for years, and now we do, and every time we pull up, we just can't believe that, like, this is our home. And it's just it's such a welcoming entrance. There's room for plants. I used to have the tiny little staircase, and I would try to stick my pumpkins and my mums on there, and it'd be like, okay, just like walk around them. So I'm so happy to have more spots to put more things. And so we actually changed the entire landscaping this year too. I love topiaries so much. I think they're so charming, and I think right here it really begged for three things to kind of create that symmetrical triangle. We added these window boxes several years ago. We constructed them ourselves, and I had always thought how charming window boxes were. So just to bring the charm of the inside of the home out, we added the window boxes. We added some new boxwoods, shutters. Oh, I've never had shutters. Actually, that's not true. We had shutters on this house once. They were not the best. I didn't love them. These, I decided to go a little bit of a different way with the navy. I feel like I love navy and pink, and because our door is pink, I didn't just want to do black, a white house with black shutters. That's what you see everywhere. I think I always try to add a little bit of my personality and a little bit of character to a home that maybe you'd be surprised, and it's like an element of surprise and character. And then we're going to take you around to the front, which is sort of the other front of the house. And this has always been here. However, we added the picket fence several years ago. This home used to almost be hidden. It sort of was sad. I feel like it had a bunch of arborvitae trees, and they were trying to hide it. I think what they were trying to do was block off the noise of a busier street, but I don't care. I'd rather my home be able to be seen. So we pulled everything up, put the picket fence down, made a little walkway with a gate, and made it a little bit more warm and welcoming to the front of the house. We continued the window boxes. We actually had to custom make them to the bay windows because they're unusual. And then I worked with the contractor, again, it was like he and I putting our heads together to create the trim of the doors. The front door trim and the other front door trim. I didn't want something you see everywhere, and I wanted something that was charming and that would catch your eye. I always like to call it like stately. I wanted a stately front entrance that still matched the home. Didn't make it seem like it was something it wasn't, but made it seem like it was something it really was, basically. I love topiaries, as I said, so I added the topiaries. We did new landscaping around. I love hydrangeas. They're my favorite flower. And we added the salvia for the pops of pink. And I think it really coordinates nicely with the pink door and the pink flowers in the window boxes, not so much in that one. And we had the dogwoods flanking the house, and it just was like a picture-perfect little storybook cape. I think home, the word and the meaning of it for me is love, is warmth, is cozy, is family. I hope that when you walk into this home, you feel all of those things. I feel like it is sort of embodied in each different room in our home, that feeling of cozy, warmth, security, safety, love for family.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.